All right, hello everybody. Today is another episode of the Sport Port. It was an interesting day of football yesterday, but I'm excited to talk about our picks. That's what we're going to start out with is our Sunday picks, stuff that I said, see exactly, how that went with the bets and just the, record of keeping tracks of the teams and that. And I'd say we did pretty good. So I'll just get straight into that here. I'll just pull it up. So our Sunday picks were Seahawks plus 10.5. That one hit. Seahawks lost, but 10.5 covered it. So it works out because we bought those points, as I always say to do. I don't remember what the original exact spread was, but we took Seahawks plus 10.5. I know we bought points on it. We bought points on all of them. It covered because we bought the 10.5, I believe. So very happy with that one. Once again, just, that's why you buy the points. I know you get less money right off the bat, but you don't win this one if you were going to bet on the Seahawks unless you bought the points. Falcons plus 17.5. They only lost by 6. I don't remember exactly what the spread was originally, but that one did hit. We had a plus 17.5, so we were perfectly fine, not worrying near the end or anything like that there. With the 17.5, we easily cleared that one. 49ers minus 1.5. That one, not even worried either. 37-15. Nothing to worry about there. Panthers are awful. We're going to talk about what happened with Matt Rule a little bit later. Just go through some of the news from Sunday. So 49ers minus 1.5, easy. We didn't need to buy the points there, but that one was good. Eagles minus 1.5. That one we did have to buy the points on. It was a little close there. 3 points. It was 20-17, but we bought the points, so then we got that one. Cowboys plus 10.5. Didn't need. We could have taken a money line, obviously, but we took it with the plus 10.5. And you once again, weren't worried the whole time. It's not coming down to the end, and you don't know what's gonna happen. You're just not worried at all. You got them plus 10.5. You're good. So all these combined was plus 476. I'd say it's pretty good. You put 100 on that, you get that much. So I was completely cool with that. Very happy to see the very first. I don't know what we're gonna call them, but I mean I just call them like my safety parlay. Like obviously you can do riskier parlays and stuff like that, but this is me trying to keep it safe, be responsible with the stuff on these alternate spreads. They give you the option to do it. The only reason not to do it is you might get less money, but you get a lot. Like if you took these at the normal spreads they're at, you don't win some of them. You just lose that money, period. So I would much rather win a little bit of money than lose all of my money. And that's what this parlay or these bets are for. And I think people get a little too greedy with it, trying to get, why do a plus 476 parlay when there's this plus 1,000 one right here? If I take all of these and I don't do it, it's like plus 2,000 because I'm taking the games at the spreads. And it's like, no, don't do that. Just be safe. It's your money. Do whatever you want with it, obviously. But me personally, that's how I think about it. Play it a little safer. You get a little bit at a time instead of, one big one. But, you're also losing a bit more on the other ones. So do whatever you want to do, but that's how I do it. That's how I'm going to be doing the parlays and that from now on. And like I said, even if you just put 2 of them together, it evens out. You take one, if you took just the Seahawks at their normal spread, right? You don't win that bet, I don't think. And it's going to be like minus 110. But if you take the Seahawks plus 10.5 and the, Eagles minus 1.5, you throw them in a parlay at their normal spread, you will get like plus 250 or something like that. You do it like this, you're probably going to get like 100. You bet 100, you get 100. But that's what actually won. So, if you make a 5-leg parlay and you nail every single one and it's plus crazy odds, good for you. But just odds of that happening are obviously very low. obviously, you can never be 100%. If we took the Steelers, plus 20, like, it doesn't work. Like, yeah, they got demolished. So, and that was one that I was talking about, but then I didn't end up putting on there. I think I could have taken them plus 30 and it still wouldn't have worked. So, got to look at that stuff. I'm very happy with 5-0 so far. I'm not complaining about that with the safety parlay. I don't know what the spread is tonight. We'll talk about that stuff at the end, though. So, very excited about that. That was good. Then we can come over here and we can look at the just slate. I went through it already. 20-12. Not bad at all. Giants and Packers. We picked the Packers. They lost. I was very happy to see them lose. I don't like Aaron Rodgers at all, but they did lose and we were wrong there. Vikings, we were right. Titans, we were right. Jaguars were wrong. They looked bad out there. Seahawks and Saints. Seahawks, we were wrong, but it was a close one. It was a good game, but Taysom Hill had 4 touchdowns, so didn't see that one coming. Then we got Buccaneers won off a stupid call. I hated that last roughing the passer. It was just a tackle. That was so stupid. And then you got Dolphins lost by a lot. Jets crushed them. Bills crushed the Steelers. Patriots crushed the Lions. That was amazing to see. Chargers won against the Browns. 49ers beat the Panthers pretty bad. Eagles beat the Cardinals barely. Cowboys beat the Rams. We were correct on that. That was our upset pick, and it happened. And then the Bengals did lose to the Ravens. So we're 20-12 so far, which isn't too bad at all. Some of these losses, like I would have taken the Dolphins every time in that one, even with the backup QB. I would have probably taken the Packers every time in that one. Giants have no receivers. But, there were some interesting parts, like the Packers. I think they could have played, if they didn't feel the need to throw it way downfield as much as they did. They could have maybe squeaked that one out or something. But watching that game, I was just like, what are the Packers doing? They're just taking shots over and over again, and they're never working out. And then they keep doing it on like a second down when they could just you get a couple yards, get up. You got Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, run the ball a bit more. But they just didn't seem to want to run it that much. And didn't really work out for them, obviously. They lost. So I'm not going to go through every single game here, though. I'm guessing most of you saw what happened. But that's the record there for the channel. So now we are done with the Sunday picks. I'll just take it right off of the thing so we can get into it. Very happy about that. NFL news. So just when I do the news here, I'm not going to, spend 20 minutes on each segment, right? I'm going to talk. I'm going to say what I think needs to be said, whether it takes 2 minutes or 10 minutes. I don't think anything will really go past that often. But, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to rant about something usually until, something crazy happens. But I'm not going to sit and rant about, Matt Rule was fired. That just got announced today. And, deserving, yeah. I mean, Baker Mayfield has played absolutely terrible. I know that as a DJ Moore owner. I saw something about Christian McCaffrey was unhappy, which, duh. I mean, you ask anybody on that team, I'm sure they're not happy about their situation right now. They could be a much better team. I think they have decent weapons, and DJ Moore, obviously Christian McCaffrey is one of the best running backs in the league. Their defense isn't that bad at all. But, they need a QB and they do need a new head coach. I don't know who they're going to go for. I saw somebody say Sean Payton. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think he's going to want to come in there with Baker Mayfield as his QB. Maybe if they had a decent QB, like a better QB, maybe a little above average, sure. But just with who Sean Payton is, I don't think he's going to come in there and just, with Baker Mayfield, try and turn this team around. I don't see that happening at all. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully they can be better. I like DJ Moore a lot. He's a player that I root for. So I always try and get him in fantasy and that. And Hasn't worked out that well this year. I mean, he gets like 8 targets a game, but half of them are over his head. So it is what it is. But Matt Rule is fired. I think it's a good idea as long as they get somebody else that's better and, don't get another Nathaniel Hackett who comes in and can't do anything. And obviously this team is working with like a lot less than, the Broncos or something. So we'll see what happens. Obviously they need to change it. So Baker Mayfield also just needs to play better. They could have Sean Payton in there, and Baker Mayfield would probably still play bad. Never really liked the guy, so maybe I'm a little biased, but I'm glad they did it. Matt Rule is fired. Don't know who's in line next, at least when I saw it like 20 minutes ago when I was trying to do stuff. That's what I saw. So, interesting. Good idea. I don't think the Panthers fan base is going to be too worried about that one. So, next up, we got the Kyler slide. This is just something I want to touch on because I just hate seeing stupid news things. Everybody's blaming Kyler for that loss, or maybe it not going into overtime, because he slid before he got a first down. He was like this close to getting a first down. So close. Like, it could have been, up for debate a little bit, maybe. Yes, he should have gone one step further. He should have. He probably could have. But you need to blame the guy. What was it, a 43-yard kick or something like that? Blame the kicker, the NFL kicker, that couldn't make that field goal. Like, I don't think the conditions were crazy or anything like that. Like, yes, Kyler could have taken another step. Mistake. Yeah, probably shouldn't make it. But as an NFL kicker, people like to talk bad about Kyler. I don't like Kyler a ton, but he's not that bad. Like, he's not that bad where you need to, he should have slid 1 yard later. Let's make it news. Like, no. The kicker missed. The NFL kicker missed a field goal. That's where the blame primarily lies, I think. Like, it's not, Kyler didn't spend too much time on Call of Duty, so then he just forgot how to slide or forgot how to get a first down. Like, no. He thought he was there. He was very extremely inches away from being there. And then the NFL kicker missed a field goal. That's what happened. It is what it is. Yes, you can probably go back and be like, Kyler should have done this earlier or something. But, the kicker should make that. Kyler even just, they should be happy, like, got him a few more yards, right? Like, bad situation to put yourself in, but, Kyler's getting too much talked bad about it because he's Kyler Murray. If another QB does that who is more well-liked, it's not a big deal, and he got a few more yards for his kicker to get a field goal, So, I mean, they didn't have any timeouts. Like, they were going to need to spike it anyway and that, and then what? Oh, they get, 5 more yards with that first down, and then maybe their kicker still misses it because he just missed one from a range he should already be hitting it in, right? Like, they were in field goal range. Kyler Murray got them down the field into field goal range. It's fine that he missed the first down by a couple inches, I mean, there's not even much more to say. Like, it's just stupid takes about how Kyler Murray is bad because people don't like Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is a fine QB. I don't even like him that much, really. But, well, I don't really at all. I mean, I have nothing to do with the Cardinals. I don't really like anybody over there. I don't dislike anybody, but, it's just another team in the NFL, right? Like, I'm not going to go rooting for them in this game. And obviously I was rooting for the Eagles because I wanted the stream to be, or the podcast or whatever you call this, the show, to be correct in the parlay. So it is what it is. People are making too much of a deal about it. Just, he did fine. It sucks that he didn't get the first. It sucks a lot more that their kicker missed a field goal. Another thing I've been seeing talked about, Giants record. So people like to say, like, people are saying, the Giants have not really faced anybody. They got the Panthers, who are obviously bad. They just fired their head coach. Cowboys just beat the Rams. I mean, the Cowboys look decently legit. I picked them to beat the Rams. Like, Cowboys are pretty good, but it was the first game with like Cooper Rush fully starting in that, so whatever. But then the Bears, they beat the Bears, and yeah, like the Bears are bad, and they beat them, so sure, but Bears were hanging in there with some decent teams in that. If I come in here and I look at exactly what their schedule was, just to make sure. They somehow were holding in with the Vikings yesterday, but the Packers, they didn't look terrible against in that. So 49ers, they beat that first week in the monsoon and that. They are, I think, I'm not going to root for them, but they aren't the worst team in the NFL per se. But then they beat the Packers yesterday in London, and I think they're decently legit. I mean, if we look at their next couple of games, they got the Ravens. That's going to be rough. Then they got the Jaguars they could beat. They got the Seahawks they could beat. Texans they could beat. Lions they could beat. They go back to the Cowboys. They'll probably have Dak back by then. But also the Giants will probably have their entire receiving core back by then. Right? So I think that they're decently legit team. I mean, they got the Cowboys and the Eagles in their division, which is rough. The Cowboys are playing really good right now. The Eagles are one of the top 3 teams in the NFL. They are undefeated still. So, but we've also seen the Cardinals last year. They were 7-0 at one point, and then they got beat. So you look at that. You never know with some of these teams. Eagles didn't look amazing yesterday, but they're obviously still a very legit team. But I think the Giants are decently legit. I don't think, they're Super Bowl contenders or anything like that, but their defense is decent. Their offense is decent. Saquon's the best running back in the NFL pretty much, passing and catching wise. If you're talking pure rushers, probably like Nick Chubb, but Saquon is very much up there in that top tier of running backs. And then Daniel Jones is not the worst quarterback out there. I would say he is, decently up there with other QBs, and he was injured. He couldn't run like he normally does. So I say they're a decently legit team. Go Giants, I guess. They aren't the worst thing. They obviously took down the Patriots a couple times in the Super Bowl, but Daniel Jones, I don't think he'll be doing that, and I don't think Bailey Zappi's leading us to a Super Bowl anytime soon. But I think they're legit. People are just saying that they've had a really weak schedule and whatever, and it's like, not really, though. They lost to the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are a decently legit team right now. Obviously you get later on in the year and then they're not anymore. But yeah, I feel completely fine saying the Giants are a legit team that could, beat kind of whoever right now. If they beat the Ravens next week, I wouldn't be absolutely astonished, right? Like, that's not gonna blow my mind or anything. I think that, obviously I would think the Ravens would win. I would think they would win by a decent amount, but I'm not gonna be, shocked if that doesn't happen. So, Giants, I think they're a legit team. I think they're looked down upon a little too much in the league. But we got 2 more for the news. Cowboys QBs, just touching on this. I know I'm going to talk about it tonight because I'm on a podcast with the guy. And he loves the Cowboys. He'll talk about the Cowboys the entire time. But Cooper Rush just keeps winning. I say, if Dak will be if Dak's able to play, but he'll be healthier a week from now, Cooper Rush has won, 6 games in a row or something. Like, I'm not going to say maybe you should put him in. But they go against the Eagles next week. That's obviously going to be rough. I think they can beat the Lions the week after that. They can beat the Bears after that. They could beat the Packers after that. Vikings, I think, would beat them. But next week is going to be one of their hardest games. I don't know the exactly timeline on when Dak is coming back. But, if Cooper Rush keeps winning, why take him out, right? Like, there's no huge reason on, yes, Dak is probably, better than Cooper Rush. I don't think that's an insane thing to say. But if they are winning games with Cooper Rush and the team likes it and whatever, and they're winning games, because if you put Dak back out there against one of, like, obviously against the Eagles, that would be very rough. But you put Dak out there against, the Lions, and they, like, don't do anything, that's a big issue. If he comes back for the Bears game and he just doesn't really do anything and they, lose, that would be absolutely huge and nobody would ever shut up about it. So I think that they are probably scared of that a little bit, because if Cooper Rush loses, it's like, okay, that's your backup quarterback anyway. He had a good streak. Okay. But, if Dak comes back against, the Lions or Bears and they lose, people are going to be begging for Cooper Rush back in just because he'd been winning games, right? Even if he is not the better QB out of the two. That's how it would work. If Bailey Zappi wins the next, 5 games in a row and then Mac is fully healthy again, I might be like, ride it out with Zappi. Like, because if Mac comes back in and they immediately lose, especially to a less than average team, people are going to be like, get the guy who's winning back in there, right? Even if he didn't put up as good statistics and stuff like that. People don't look at that. They look at wins and losses. And that's what is going to happen if they put Dak back in. So I say, my opinion on it, keep Cooper Rush in. They're probably going to get this week against the Eagles. But then you got, Lions, Bears. Those are 2 games that they could absolutely win. Absolutely. So, I don't know. We'll see exactly what happens. Because, like I said, if Dak comes back in and he loses, that's going to be big news that people won't shut up about. Like I said, Dak could come back and lose and then win the next game, and people would still talk about how he lost that game, even though he went weeks without playing football and then just got back, right? So they're going to wait it out. And I think that Dak could be fully healthy against, a certain team, but, especially if Cooper Rush beats the Eagles, which I don't think is going to happen, but then you're looking at a completely different thing. Or Cooper Rush loses to the Eagles and then Dak comes in. Maybe that's better. I don't know. But we'll see what happens there. I just know it's going to be a very big talked about thing if he comes back and loses immediately after Cooper Rush has been winning. So we'll see what happens there. And then we got the Steelers situation. People, I think it was Colin Cowherd. I saw just a little thing. He was talking about the Steelers have like the highest paid offense or one of the highest paid offense or defenses in the league, right? And it's like, yeah, they do. And he's talking about like how terribly they've played and stuff like that. And I didn't see the full clip. I'm not like saying that. I'm just saying this is definitely an opinion people have. If they're the highest paid defense, why are they getting demolished, right? Fair point to make. If their best, highest paid defensive player was not out, otherwise it doesn't make sense, right? If you, go to pretty much any team and you just remove their best player, then they're gonna not play nearly as good, unless it's like a team that just has multiple stars. If you take the Cowboys defense and yet take away Micah Parsons, that's a big deal. If you just take Trayvon Diggs out of there, like whatever. If you take Harrison Smith right off the Vikings, like that's a big deal, it's a weird take to have, but yeah, like you go to any team and you take away their best player, Pat Surtain and whoever, you are going to be looking at a worse team. And if they have been the best player for a few years, they're probably the highest paid. So they're going to have all that, cap space just like sitting there in this one person who can't even play. So it might look bad when you have that and then your defense doesn't play good. But their main person is injured. Like if Tom Brady gets injured, I'm not going to be like, "Oh my god, why does their offense suck? They have so much money in it." No, like their main guy is out, right? Like, doesn't make any sense at all to me. And then obviously Najee, I've been fading him all summer. I have him in like 3 leagues where I just got him at like late round 2, and I'm just like, okay, the value here is great. I'm gonna take him because the value here is really good from what he's projected. But obviously has been very bad, and I'm in a lot of leagues. I'm talking like the $3 leagues on Underdog, right? Like that's where I have him in. I don't have him in any serious leagues. So that was something I was right on as well. Najee looking very bad. They have Kenny Pickett in. I think that was a very good choice. I think they should have started him earlier because now they are starting him against the Bills and then like 3 more teams with really good defenses. If we come in here and look, and I go over to their games, yeah, they're going against the Bills and then the Buccaneers, 2 of the best defenses in the league. Then the Dolphins, who have a really good defense, even though they just kind of got crushed by the Jets. And then the Eagles, who have one of the best defenses. Then the Saints have a decent defense too, right? So they kind of put him in at the worst possible time. Obviously, if he came out here and then, he just like put up a fight against the Bills, that's a huge deal. But they should have been starting him earlier. I don't know why they started Trubisky. Trubisky is not that great. But, they won a game. So great, I guess, for them. But yeah, they're throwing him into a bad situation. Pickett, he, Bills, Buccaneers, Dolphins, Eagles, Saints is a crazy first 5 NFL games to go through as a quarterback. So he's not going to look great here. But I grabbed him in my keeper league. The week he started, that Thursday, I think I said it already, like Thursday, I just grabbed Kenny Pickett because I'm like, I think he's going to start soon. He's got a ton of talent. I already have George Pickens, and I'm in a keeper league. So, next year, if I get, Kenny Pickett in the 16th round, and then, George Pickens in whatever round I drafted him, that would be amazing. So we'll see how that turns out. Screw the extra roster spot. Like, he can sit down there. It's fine. But I want to see him do good. I like he got tackled once, and he, started pushing the dude and stuff. And the dude's obviously way bigger. He's like a defensive lineman. And then, he gives off, George Pickens vibes where they're shoving people down. They're passionate, and I kind of like that for him. Don't like the Steelers, like some of the players. So, excited to see that. I just don't really like Deontay Johnson, but I like George Pickens. That's why I grabbed him in fantasy. I like Kenny Pickett. That's why I grabbed him in fantasy. That's how you know if I like a player. If I really don't like a player, I'm probably not going to grab him in fantasy. You're not going to go through my fantasy team and find somebody that I just don't like, right? So there's that. I think they'll be all right in the long run, but right now, obviously, these next few games are going to be very hard for them, especially after watching that game that just happened against the Bills. So, and they had Pickett throw it a lot. He had 327 yards off 52 attempts. He had an interception and no touchdowns, right? So it'll be interesting over there. He didn't really show that he liked anybody more than anybody else. George Pickens had 6 receptions, Deontay Johnson had 5, and Claypool had 5, and Zach Gentry had 5, right? So that's, we'll see what happens there. He's still probably getting a bit used to the NFL, but I'm excited to see what happens over there just because I like those players, as I said. But it's going to be a rough year from here on out for him, for sure. So next we got our Monday night picks. This I have not gone over. So I will be typing them in here as it goes. So I think that it will be the Chiefs. I've been thinking about it this whole time, so it's probably like Chiefs minus 5.5. 5.5 points is what I would guess is there. I can come in here and I can look. I'll just do it on my phone because I need to get on my phone for my player props anyway. And then, because I already have those picked out, did them myself. So I made the bets as well. Chiefs minus 7. Okay. So that's interesting. See, now this is where it makes me think. You take, you come in and you go more wagers and you come over and you go all the way over into the buy sell points, and then you look at, it's 7. What if I want to make it Raiders plus 10.5, right? It's minus 170, so bet 100, win 58. That's not terrible. Obviously, you would rather win 100. I would rather win 1,000 off that bet. But I would say, I would take for the pick. I just wanted to put that in there so we had it written down for a second what I was guessing it was, and I was a little bit off. But we can take Raiders plus 10.5. That's what I think is going to happen there. I think that's a good bet to make. Raiders could get crushed, but I highly doubt that. I think they'll be passing on a lot, which is kind of part of this parlay that I did. So came in, did the parlay. I might make another one. I don't think so, though. I'm going to leave it with this one, right? So Darren Waller has not looked amazing, and now Hunter Renfrow is back, right? So I have Waller lower than 11.75 fantasy points, right? So make that a little smaller. That's, cool. Nothing crazy there, right? So I have Waller lower than 11.75 fantasy points. Then after that, I have Patrick Mahomes, because he's Mahomes, higher than 23.75 fantasy points. So we'll just put the H there. I don't really want to I don't like having everything go off the screen. So Waller lower than 11.75 fantasy points. So throw that in there. Mahomes higher, 75, yeah. FP. So, I think that, Derek Carr can have a decent passing game in that, but I just don't think Darren Waller, unless Darren Waller gets in the end zone, which always could screw up one of these things, but I don't think he's going to, even if you take his reception prop, I think it was at like 5. That might even be a slightly better one to make. But yeah, I don't think Darren Waller's going to do great. I think Mahomes is going to be passing a lot because they're going against the high-powered offense that could, come back a bit, at any point. I'd be scared against an offense with Hunter Renfrow and Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs has been looking good, so I don't know how much they're going to want to let off the gas there. And then, going along with that, so I'll just put Kelsey less than, higher than 12.65. I think he is going to get a bit of targets. I think because here's the thing. So you can go in and you can bet on, receptions or, passing yards or rushing yards or whatever. The fantasy points, I kind of like them though, because it's like, lower than 11.75 fantasy points. The main way you could get screwed on this one is if they get a touchdown. If Darren Waller gets, 3 catches, then I would win the 5 reception one. But if he catches 2 in the end zone, I lose the fantasy points one. So that's where it gets a bit scary. But also, like, betting on someone to make it in the end zone is pretty long shot anyway. A lot of people can make it into the end zone. But yeah, but that's also part of the thing that you like. Travis Kelce could only have 2 receptions. You could lose on Travis Kelce's receptions and his like receiving yards and whatever. But he gets in the end zone twice, and then you win the bet, right? So it kind of goes both ways. That's why the reception one might be better for Darren Waller, less than 5 receptions, with Hunter Renfrow being back in that. So hopefully he doesn't like make it in the end zone a bunch of times, but and anybody else does on that team. But that's all I'm putting there. Nothing else that I super liked. Just getting the 3 times, because also when you do these on Prize Picks or Underdog or whatever, insure it. There's no, like, yes, if you get a 5-leg parlay exactly right, you can get 20 times your money. Or you can get it 10 times. And then if you get 4 right, you also get a little bit of money instead of losing it all, right? Like, just I feel like more often than not, that is going to work out well for you. Getting 5 things right is hard. Getting 4 things right is also hard. So, you want to get something at least, right? So I always insure mine. But this is what I like here. Raiders plus 10.5. Waller less than 11.75 fantasy points. Mahomes higher than 23.75 fantasy points. And Kelce higher than 12.65 fantasy points. Some are weird numbers like 12.65 and that, but you'll take it whatever way you want it, and it'll help you out. So those are my picks for tonight. I think it should be a decent game. I hope there's a bit of scoring, just not from Darren Waller, obviously. So I already won both my fantasy games this week. That was very exciting. I am now 2-3 in both of them. Nothing's going to happen tonight in either of them that could cause me to win or lose. So that is very exciting. And I don't know if I talked about it. I think I talked about it. I did a trade, and it's weird looking at it now because, like, I traded Aaron Jones and Gabe Davis, right? Aaron Jones did not have a great game. Gabe Davis had a monster game, right? But then I got Leonard Fournette and Devontae Smith. So here's my plan. I'm just going to walk you through it really quick. So I now have Leonard Fournette and Devontae Smith, which means I have Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith on my team, right? And then Leonard Fournette is just going to go straight into the lineup, obviously. So do I want to start Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown? No. That limits upside. So I'm trying to trade A.J. Brown. Devontae Smith has been getting those receptions that A.J. Brown is obviously very good, right? But, if I can get, Stephon Diggs or something, right? Like maybe Jamar Chase if he gets a little better. Just one of those other top-level guys. I don't think you're going to get Justin Jefferson from anyone or anything like that. But, Stephon Diggs or something for A.J. Brown in that. Because I always like having the stack on my team. So I still have Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith. And then, I can get something big for A.J. Brown. So that's what I'm attempting to do right now. But I'll let you guys know how that goes over the week. But here's my picks. I hope tonight goes very well for us, just like the weekend did. And I will see you guys tomorrow.